I've participated in the Singapore-MIT Alliance program for 10 years. There's two programs, SMA-1 and SMA-2. I participated in both in what was the Advanced Materials program within SMA. And it was a very interesting experience. I did SMA because I was interested in both having a global footprint as well as understanding where education and research was going to go in an international way. You could see in history, places like MIT became national universities over time when things used to be completely regional. And so if you just look at the trends, it's pretty obvious that MIT has an international student body, but it's an American university. So the question is, you look towards the future, a certain number of these universities are going to become international universities, and I was interested in, especially in my field, in semiconductors, which is already global. How does a place like MIT evolve to become a global university? And Singapore MIT Alliance was an excellent way to start to look at some of those experiments. And of course, Singapore is motivated because they wanted to increase the amount they wanted to have a more significant fraction of their economy be a knowledge-based economy. And so MIT and Singapore were able to get together and create this program. And it really exposed me to a lot about both Singapore, but also about how global interactions will take place. Very interesting consequence that related to innovation is that you put more pieces together that you didn't have access to before. One of them, for example, was my first startup company. I ended up putting a small research division inside Singapore just because the Singapore-MIT Alliance exposed me to a research institute there that we could use to develop our technology from a university stage to a commercial stage. And so that's an example of how just that interaction starts to expose you to more opportunities and more pieces of a puzzle that you might need to put together. And I think MIT, after 10 years, realized that when Singapore thought about creating an international campus for having a physical research building there for MIT and other top research universities in the world, it looked like a nice extension to continue those kinds of learnings. The first step where MIT's built a major research facility in another country. And so that's called SMART. That's the Singapore-MIT Alliance for Research and Technology. And we recently won the 5th IRG, which is Interdisciplinary Research Group within SMART. There's 5 IRGs within SMART, and we will be exploring low-energy electronic systems in that program. As I mentioned before, our core research process originally was putting these thin films of semiconductors together, and it turns out that there's many people on campus that are interested in if we could put those films together and create new kinds of microsystems, new kinds of integrated circuits that don't exist today. It requires research to be progressing in many directions that PIs here, principal investigators, are interested in. So we put a team together to address this, and that's the outcome is this low energy electronic systems. And what we hope to do is have prototypes that in, say, 4 or 5 years from now will be drastically new kinds of integrated circuits that use much lower power and can do new functionality that silicon circuits couldn't do before. And that will spawn a whole new real, in our biggest dream, it'll create a whole new semiconductor industry that is going in a different direction than just simply shrinking transistors like we've been doing for the last 40 years.